Hi, this is Tom Mills of Paleoplanet. This is the first in a series of videos where I'm making a bow using only stone tool technology, at least for the most part. I'm going to use that shaving horse there, which is more 18th century technology. I'm going to use that shaving horse to hold the stave later on in the show. Anyway, in this first one, I'm going to trim this stave to size. The stave is California walnut. It's fresh cut, it's green, sopping wet, which makes it easier to work with stone tools. I'm trimming it here with a celt, and a celt is pretty much just an axe. The celt describes the way that it's hafted, where the blade actually is inset in a handle. Anyway, I'm using this celt. This one is made by Scott Silsby, a guy back in Virginia who's a very well-known primitive technologist and flea napper. I've gotten a hold of one of his celts, so I'm putting it to use here. The other axe leaning against, or celt leaning against the log, is one that I made. It's just as a flaked stone cutting edge. Scott Silsby's is ground to cutting edge. It works a little cleaner. My axe is a bit crude and it tends to chew up the wood more than cutting it, but it works pretty well. I'm going to trim this down to size, and then in this video I'll be making some stone tools to use later on for making the bow. One of the most important tools I'm going to make here is a stone scraper. I'm going to try to make a pretty big scraper so that I can work the wood down as efficiently as possible. I'm about to finish up trimming this piece. Again, it's green, so it's real fibrous and lively, but I finally managed to get the end off. Very crude. It looks like an animal chewed it up or something. Anyway, here's some other bows that I have. I'm going to make pretty much the same style as that, and they're about the same length. So now I'm going to find the placement of my handle section. It's going to be a very simple bow. Just the widest part will be in the handle, and it'll narrow down from there to tips. Also, the thickest part will be in the handle. So I'm going to mark where the center of the bow is, and to do that I'm going to use a length of cord. I'm going to just fold it in half, and now use that to mark the halfway marker, the center of the bow. I'm just using a little stone knife there to score the bark a little bit to mark where the handles are. Setting where the outside of the handle is, I'm using 3 fingers for a measuring tool from the center, and that will be my handle. Okay, I'm marking the handle. I'm using this knife, and I'm not cutting very deeply. It's just to make little marks on the bark. I don't want to cut into the back of the bow, which will be the part facing away from me when I shoot it. I want to keep that pristine. Here's a basalt scraper. That edge there is going to work like a plane, like a spoke shave almost. Nice and sharp. I'll use it to slice off wood. Not quite a scraper, more of a cutting tool, again like a plane. This one's a little dull from other use. Here's a piece of flint I'm going to, or chert rather, I'm going to try to create a nice hefty scraper out of. It's got a chalky cortex on it that I need to chip through in order to create a nice square edge on one end of that. I want to be able to use it as a big giant cabinet scraper. It'll work very well to reduce the stave as quickly as possible. I think those right edges there would be perfect, except for the fact that that chalky outside on it needs to be removed first. So I have to do a little work to kind of create a square edge down at that end. Looks like I'm just whacking away at it, but I'm actually trying to plan what strategy here. I have a strategy in mind. It may not work out, but all those flakes coming off can be used for various things, for arrowheads, for other cutting tools, for scrapers, little X-Acto knives. I'm sure it is very sharp, so I'm going to hang on to those and make use of them. Take a couple of flakes now at right angles goes to the edge, and at the end you'll see I'm going to chase one right down that edge to knock that off. In the next segment, this one's going to end shortly. The next segment, I'm going to debark the stave and start to work it down using the scraper. There we go, that right angle edge. Hard to see, you'll see it in the subsequent videos. I'll be